Every day, there are so many missed business opportunities.
Sorry, left that file on my work computer.
So many barriers to working together.
Sorry, can't access that file on my phone.
But today, Microsoft Office 365 offers lots of new features to help you be productive anywhere. Like editing office files on phones and tablets, easy one-click video conferencing, a free terabyte of secured cloud storage.
Sorry, wait, I mean, really? Wow, that's awesome.
Go to tryofficenow.com to start your free 30-day business trial of Office 365. That's tryofficenow.com.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliate stations coast to coast present
Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue.
No-hitter for Arietta.
Discussing baseball, good drinks, and food.
So,
Or clear for a minute so I can write down the damn time.
It just got weird.
With Ted Hicks.
Everybody wants to be Bartolo.
Todd Vandenberg.
The handsomest man on the entire goddamn tour.
And Lee Vowell.
Folks, look around. Anyone who's not singing in the choruses is a racist.
Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on the Happy Hour Network.
And welcome to Baseball, Beer, and Barbecue with Ted, Todd, and Lee. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on the Twitter at Baseball Beer BBQ. We will talk at the bottom of this hour with Kwayu Graham, coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats and position coach of top 20 national player in the 2017 class, receiver T. Higgins. Plus, just speaking because I know Kwayu happens to be one of the greatest human beings on the earth, and I'm not even saying that jokingly. I actually mean that. So I am Lee, and of course joined as always, well, mostly always. Sometimes I'm not here, but usually with Todd and Ted. So Theodore Homer Hicks, who else do we have to thank this morning?
It's great to be back on the airwaves with my amigos. So, reports of my defection were incorrectly reported. I am not in any way working with Colin Kaepernick.
Wait,
I did not.
Were you out last week?
I was out last week. I was out, but you didn't notice it.
Honestly.
No, you didn't notice it because you monopolized the mic time, and I won't stand for it anymore. I'm mad as...
So anyway, I muted Ted because I really couldn't remember if it was me or him that was out last week. Seriously, and I'm not monopolizing anything. So go ahead, Ted.
I'm just glad to be here.
I was referred to as him, so I think somehow I.
This is fun. I can mute him whenever I want to. It's awesome. It's great radio.
I should feel somehow insultedly by you referring to me as him. I am not him.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a him.
Well,
but
I'm just glad you're still part of the fantasy football league. Oh wait.
Oh
no. So go ahead.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so I will go back on script. That was my Ted Hicks, a.k.a. Donald Trump, when there's a script in front of him and he just goes nuclear. Okay, so you can also hear us. Well, our good friends at NGSC Sports, we love you, and we'll always adore you. I-95 Sports Network, back sports page. We love you too, guys. Really. RF Sports, XRP Radio in the UK, iHeartRadio, which is global, iTunes, Arena Sports Network. Brian Snow, you haven't left us yet, but hey.
Actually, we kind of left them.
Oh,
I mean, no
offense
to them. They didn't leave us.
I had a conversation with Brian Snow yesterday, and he was so pumped up about Baseball Beer and Barbecue. He called me about it when he saw one of the tweets for the show. And I was just like, okay, like, where is this call? Where is this going? And I told him, I said, I am not Lee Vowell. I said, all executive decisions are by Lee Vowell. No.
By Todd Vandenberg.
By Todd J. Vandenberg. And I think Todd has Todd, where are you? Because Lee's been dominating this entire podcast so far Where are you? Well, who do we have to thank? What's going on?
I am in the crawl space. A couple comments. First, I think we will probably finish our intro before we bring Kwayu on at 10:30.
That's what I was thinking too.
If we are the three amigos, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm just not going to be Martin Short, though. I'm letting you know right now. That's not happening. We do wish to thank Computer Repair NC at CJ Computers NC 919-653-8496 for all your needs in the universe, except for one, except for hot sauce. For your hot sauce needs, go to eBay. It's E-B-A-Y on your radio dial. And you will find Cappy's Original Wicked Hot Sauce, the best hot sauce your mouth has ever made love to.
Oh.
So, hey, Ted, I have a question for you because I know the answer to Todd already. Speaking of the Three Amigos, have you watched the show Community?
Which inception of it, like the Hulu or the Yahoo version or the NBC version?
The NBC version.
Yes, a couple of episodes.
And what'd you think? Okay, so what'd you think about like Chevy Chase is on that show?
Yes.
What'd you think? Does he add anything? We've watched the show, and it's Chevy Chase who. It's interesting that his career went there, but.
I thought he was sleepwalking through it. I didn't see any value. I'm sorry, but I am a Chevy Chase.
I agree.
School fan, SNL and everything else like that, but I didn't see any value. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'll chime in. I've seen a few episodes, and I did see a few with him, and I totally agree with you guys. It's just like Paycheck. He acts a lot like he was in a guest Law and Order is like one of my favorite shows. They're the original permutation before they switched off into like 87,000 pilots, spin-offs I should say. And most of those are good too, but he was a guest on one of those. He was the accused, and he almost kind of looked like he was partly sleepwalking and partly just being an irritable asshole, which apparently is what he really is. And it's like, interesting. That's kind of what he appears to be. So, yeah. Wow. He added. It's not that he added nothing to Community. It's like he sucked something out of it.
Well, I don't think it was I don't think it was like 4 weddings and a funeral where everybody's great except for the American actress. I don't think he siphons. I just think it's like
God, it's
just like he's boring. And the show's good.
Yeah.
It's a good show. It's worth watching. I think it's just. I just think, man, that's he's just sitting there. It's like, wow, this is. They have to give him some lines, but I think he leaves eventually. I don't think he's on the whole series. I think he flaked out or something. Anyway, I don't know how we started off the show with this because, I guess. Yes.
Lee, can I mention something? This segment was just brought to you by Cinema Savants.
The shortest Cinema Savants ever. It's 2 minutes. So. Let's talk about there's stuff that's not on the show sheet because I sent it out last week and it was probably the earliest one we've ever done. But
2 weeks ago.
Obviously things it feels like last year I sent this out and I guessed what would happen. But no, obviously some things have happened this week, even going into last week. So let's start off talking about Colin Kaepernick and I don't want to, there's a lot of he's un-American, he's not standing up for the national anthem and yada yada yada. Yeah, there's a lot. Well, and you do anything and make a statement of any kind, you get vitriol in this country, which, people have the freedom to say what they want in this country with vitriol, and he also has the freedom in this country to not stand up for the national anthem if he wants to. I did think, just my personal opinion, the Sox went a little bit too far, but I don't hold anything against him for not standing up for the national anthem. He's said, basically, actually, I think I've got the quote right here.
Right.
Once again, this is from Colin Kaepernick. Once again, I'm not anti-American. I love America. I love people. That's why I'm doing this. I want to help make America better. I think having these conversations helps everybody have a better understanding of where everybody is coming from. So I'll put this question to you guys, and you guys can just go with it however you want to. But first of all, what do you think about him not standing up for the national anthem? And I'll say this, I don't have a problem that he doesn't stand up for the national anthem. If he's trying to make a statement about, something, it's fine. That's up to him. He has that freedom. Secondly, is what he's trying to stand up for getting the talk, or is it really it's just all come back to Colin Kaepernick, and that's what we're talking about? Nobody's really talking about the issue which he's trying to make a protest on. So you guys have the floor. Feel free to say whatever you want to.
I would rather Ted hit cleanup on this because Ted's an NFL football player, so he's closer to the situation. I think you hit it on the head with.
I love it.
With unfortunately his method of protest, which I absolutely support, and that's why I've said that I kind of wish he had used a different venue, not because it's disrespectful, but because it draws so much focus on the method of the protest instead of the reason of the protest. People all up in arms over him not standing during the national anthem. A lot of them are the same bozos who are, busy getting a beer in line and talking and doing all this other stuff. And it's like, come off it. I served in the military, and I served in the military so people were free to not stand for the anthem. And this idea that, well, if you don't stand for the anthem, that makes it compulsory. And if it's compulsory, it's not respectful. There's no respect in being forced to stand, whether it's by law or by public opinion. So that concept to me is absolutely ridiculous, to think that, well, he needs to stand. It's like, no, that's the whole point. You don't need to stand. So the comments about, oh, he should have done this are frankly ill-informed at best. But again, to your point, it would have been better if he had found something less disruptive to the psyche of all these really fragile so-called patriots, because then they would have paid more attention to what he's talking about instead of how he's doing it. Chad?
Yes, sir. Todd, I just want to let you know, in the beginning when you were describing your thoughts on it, I did chuckle. I didn't chuckle at the fact that, people are pissed off or anything else like that. I chuckled at the fact that you said...
me? Were you disrespecting me?
I would never disrespect you. But I chuckled at the fact that you said, and you made all the sense in the world, that those are the same bozos that are standing online, paying for their $14 beer, watered down, draft beer,
right,
while the national anthem, is going on. The country itself, and it's not like we're going to fix it in this show, but
yes, we are.
The country itself. You and I and Lee spoke about this many, many moons ago when I said the divide is getting so far. I said this place is a powder keg. We've all said it. It's a powder keg because we could see it. And the shootings continue to escalate. And you look at all of that's happened. And then you get to Colin Kaepernick. And these pundits want to sound off because, it's the 24-hour news cycle. That's one thing. So Colin not standing, am I supportive of it? It's his right. I mean, it's so funny because people are so pissed off. You have the National Association, Police Association, sending memos to the NFL saying their police officers won't work games at Levi Stadium. That's a bunch of bull. It's all a bunch of bull because, A, yes, he did do it. Do I support it? Yes, I do support it. Is it his right? Yes, it's his right. He did nothing illegal. Okay, now we've gotten past that point. He's not standing because things need to happen in his eyes. Okay, what are those things? What is the plan? At the same time, it keeps coming back to Colin Kaepernick, and Lee was totally correct. It takes that there's a message here. There's a protest. What is a protest supposed to do? It's supposed to disrupt the norm. So he succeeded in that. But he's failing when the media comes out, during practice on August 10th, he wore these socks of cops that were pigs. Does that drown out the message? Partially. It does. Okay. Are we able to pivot from it? Yes, we are. Well, the problem here is, what are the next steps? What are you planning to do? What is your focus going to do? Because last time I checked, he signed a max deal. So, it's, if he outlives the entire length of his contract with the 49ers or whomever else, it's going to be $120+ million. Okay, so you have a lot more resources than a lot of these other Americans, especially the ones that are distressed, to do something. So you're going to donate X amount of dollars. What are we going to do to build up? And it all comes back to policing the community or community policing. Because I think that's what he's talking about. He doesn't have a beef with the military. He doesn't have a beef with, for some strange reason, he doesn't have a beef with black-on-black crime. But it's the cops and the injustice and the overall oppression. Are black people and are minorities oppressed? Yes, they are. Is there something called white privilege? Yes, it is. Okay, we know that. That's been stated 100 times over. What are we going to do next? Where does this go? Because that's the problem with every march, every protest, everything that I've been a part of or seen. Where do we go from here? Once we have this rally, this overall, hey, we should do this. The problem is, and what it always comes down to, it's jobs. We lower the crime by getting these people educated and employed. When I say these people could be anyone. Okay? There's so many issues here. Like I said, we don't have enough time to fix it. But totally with Colin, did he choose the right venue? Yeah, he chose the right venue because he disrupted the system. Is he working with anyone? Who's in his ear? Who's guiding him? Who's mentoring him? We want to know what's the plan. Guys, sorry for giving you that long answer, but that's how I feel about it.
No, that's awesome. I just want to throw in a quick thing with people, especially NFL fans who are so pissed off. Where were you when it was disclosed that the NFL took almost $7 million from the Pentagon to host these tributes to the military? $6.8 million that the NFL took in so they could have these great, heartwarming stories of, military guys, people coming back and it's like, come on. It's like, and they paid it back, but they paid it back because they were shamed into doing it. It's like, just stop with this BS. A guy stands up for what he believes in, and the stupid league has to be paid millions of dollars to, hold up, the military, the same military that you think he's disrespecting, and they have to be paid to honor the military. So take a better look at what's actually going on, people.
Yeah. You guys, and that's one reason I wanted to throw it out to both of you, because you both said it a lot better than I would have. And Ted, great points, extremely well spoken, and good points.
Yes, indeed.
Todd as well. So let's just, I guess we'll stay with NFL since we've, started off talking about Colin Kaepernick. I will say Jeremy Lane. I don't know if you guys know this. It's funny because I was jogging this morning and I was thinking.
I saw that.
What? Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm jogging this morning and I'm thinking, I'm up to date on who may or may not be the fifth string running back for the Seahawks, and I'm thinking everybody's in their own kind of camp. I really don't know what's going on with the Jets or the Dolphins other than like the main storylines, but you guys probably don't know anything like, is Troy Maine Pope going to be the fifth running back for the Seahawks? I mean, why would you know that? Why would you want to keep up with it? And I was thinking it's just kind of cool how everybody kind of goes into their own little camps of the teams they follow. But so Todd already mentioned he'd seen it, but yeah, Jeremy Lane, who's he's probably he's either going to be the slot or he's going to be the opposite corner to Richard Sherman. He's a good player, and he missed a lot of time when he came back last year. The Seahawks defense improved quite a bit. Secondary improved quite a bit. He actually sat down during the national anthem, too, for the same reason that Kaepernick did, and he did it because Colin Kaepernick had done it. So that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if other players throughout the league do that, not because of honoring Colin Kaepernick, but because they believe in the same kind of thing. And Kaepernick, kind of led that, and now he's got other people doing it. I don't know if anybody else is doing it. No, Jeremy Lane did it, at least on Thursday night in that preseason game. So, anyways, go ahead.
Lee, could I just add in one piece? Why is the NBA and Adam Silver so much further ahead of any other league? Because the issue with the LGBT in North Carolina, they were quick to swoop and they waited. They were quick to swoop in and fix that problem of having the game there.
If I can answer the question, I'll say this. I think it's because the NBA, the way they run their league, the way they view their league is different from the other three leagues. And nothing against hockey. I mean, it's a totally different kind of entity. And, there's quite a few African Canadians, African Americans involved in hockey now, but it's not really, it's still predominantly European American. So I think the reason is that hockey especially, and baseball especially, and football to a lesser degree, they don't like individualism in their sports. And NBA actually wants there to be individualism because that's how they sell the league. So I think the NBA, it's easier and it's better a lot of times. In this case, I think it's better. It's easier for the NBA to allow their individual players to make individual statements, whereas I don't think the other leagues, especially football doesn't want that. They want an old boy school system. I don't think baseball really wants that either, but I think it's a little bit more open to it. It's just teams don't really allow it. And hockey's just, it's all about the team. So, but yeah, football should allow their players to do it more because they have the biggest podium of any of the sports. I don't know, Todd, if you agree with that or not, but I think that's the difference between the NBA and the other three leagues in North America.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Part of it is the NBA. The players take in more of the revenue, so in a sense, they are a bigger piece of the action. I mean, as they should be than the other leagues. And two, there's so few, like you said, there's so many fewer players, and typically they'll have longer careers than in the NFL. That their individual faces are much more important to the league than the guys playing behind face shields and face masks and visors, and half the time you can't even see their faces in the NFL anyway, and they're going to blow out a knee and they'll be gone. So, and on a lot of it too is the strength of the players' associations, respectively. In the biggest sense, though, I think it boils down to who the commissioners are. I mean, you look at how they handle their business, and it's like night and day between the NBA and the NFL. And I think that's the biggest part. I mean, Goodell thinks he's like the overseer, basically.
Exactly.
I mean,
a great
that's
point.
exactly how he runs it. And Silver runs it like he's in a partnership.
Right.
Because he knows, hey, these guys are the product. This is what has me in this position, so I've got to do what I need to do to help them do their job. And if allowing them and helping them even to express their beliefs on certain issues, that's my job. I mean, he gets it.
Yeah, no, I just wonder, it goes back to not to the owners, but the NBA is predominantly African American, and other sports, especially baseball, is predominantly white, and hockey obviously predominantly white, and football. There's probably a greater degree of African Americans in football in the NFL than hockey or baseball, but still probably I'm assuming the majority are white players. So but that kind of goes back to the commissioner point too, Todd, because it could be like Goodell, if he was the commissioner of say basketball, does he care more about what the owners think of him? And the owners are obviously mostly white, if not all, and or the players. And I think Adam Silver, I want to applaud him because he's not just like, well, the owners are almost all white here, so I'm just going to not allow these African American athletes who actually make the money for the league to have their say. He's willing to, and the owners seem to be willing to be okay with some of the big players in the league making a statement. So maybe the whole culture of the NBA is a little bit better and more open to those things. I don't know if that's way off, but Ted, what do you think about that?
No, I it's so funny that today, it's dominated the headlines. Kaepernick has dominated the headlines the last 72 to 96 hours, we would say. But when, and I'm saying this in jest, when LeBron James, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Paul hijacked the ESPYs, I mean, yes, we know they didn't hijack it. Everyone was standing up, clapping for what they did. And that was a disruption. I guess it was much more organized. But what difference did they say that Kaepernick, said or by their actions? The actions were almost the same. There we go. That phone is ringing.
There's Colin
again.
Kaepernick calling. He wants to talk.
He's upset.
Or Goodell. It's probably Goodell.
Or Goodell. Yeah, that's right.
Bye, Ted.
That's right. What happened to Ted? He hadn't been at work for this week. Anyway, moving on, and of course, we should just stay with NFL because we are going to have Coach Kwayu Graham of Oak Ridge High on in just a few minutes. Off the social aspect, culture of that, 2 quarterbacks were injured. Tony Romo, he missed a lot of time last season, but he was injured, kind of a freak tackle. I mean, Cliff Averill of the Seahawks tackled him, and it wasn't malicious at all. And I think Romo knows that, and Averill knows that. And Averill reached out to Romo and said, "Yeah, man, sorry the accident happened," and Romo was like, he's totally understood it. Yes?
He broke his back.
Are you leading me?
He broke his back.
He broke his back.
He broke his back.
Anyway,
the reason why I'm not in fantasy football this season.
And I am not looking forward to Game 1 for the Dolphins because I think we will have 6 people with broken backs because of the way your team hits.
On both sides.
It was a clean hit.
No, both sides.
It was absolutely
you've got a dirty player.
Hit.
So, your player might intentionally hurt somebody else. Anyway, Cliff Averill, you know how I'm talking about. Tannehill.
Yeah.
So, no, but it's like it
was preseason.
Cliff Averill did not do it intentionally. Anyway, another quarterback that got injured who probably has a bigger effect on a team that has a more long-term potential. The Minnesota Vikings, Teddy Bridgewater, out for at least this year. Could even miss a bunch of early stuff next year. Who's the bigger loss there, Bridgewater or Romo, and how much does it affect the Vikings specifically, do you think?
Todd, you grab that.
I think Bridgewater because from preseason appearance, the Cowboys have a much better backup quarterback available to them, and their defense is god-awful anyway, and Romo being hurt doesn't affect that. Bridgewater affects it more, and, obviously Bridgewater's stats aren't comparable to Romo's when Romo's healthy. Probably comparable to him with a broken back. But he's a leader, and he's effective enough, and they've got a 972-year-old backup quarterback, so they don't quite have. Yeah, they don't exactly have. They might as well. They don't exactly have the same situation going on there. I think the Vikings had a better preseason vibe than the Cowboys, so I think that hurts them worse. Plus the fact that Bridgewater's young and. Like you said, I mean, who knows how he recovers from this? He may not recover from this. I mean, they said that they credited the medical staff on hand for possibly saving his leg, not just making sure that he may be back next year. Yeah, because there were bleeds going on in his leg. So there was some discussion
on whether he would ever play again when they first found out all that.
And there's still some discussion on that, but they said he could have lost a leg. If they hadn't been on hand and done exactly what they needed to do to stop that bleeding. So good thing they had good medical staff there, let's just put it that way.
The other aspect of it, sorry to interrupt you for just a second, but is the fact that it was a it could happen to any of us. That injury could happen to any of us.
Yeah, he could have been out working out on his own almost and done that. So that's the craziest thing, a non-contact injury. So hopefully he'll be fine, but the Vikings I think are screwed for this season, and Romo, that sucks for Romo, but I think it's more likely that Romo's done for the career, because like we were talking in pre-pro, was like back injuries, and especially at an advanced age for a quarterback, which is more than 2 years in the league, and he's going to get hit again. And it's like, man, that sucks. I don't care about the Cowboys, but that sucks for Romo. It really does. And hopefully Bridgewater will be fine and be back next season. But, the Vikings are toast, which is unfortunate for them. I think.
I mean, they still have a solid team. They still have a solid team. I don't know if Todd can hear me. Todd doesn't respect my conversation. But I think
you're like the anthem to me. I'm sitting.
No, I think the difference, and sorry to interrupt, but I just want to say this real quick. I'm trying to say it real quick. Anyway, I think the Vikings have a better team overall than the Cowboys, so I think they might be better to absorb the loss of a quarterback than the Dallas would be. 4-12 Dallas last year without Romo. They may have made the playoffs with Romo. So, Ted?
I was going to say something not associated with this, but if you guys continue to banter with each other, I will not have a part. I will not have a part of this white on white crime because I would be the one to get shot.
New intro.
Well, last time I looked, Teddy Bridgewater was African American. So we had those two huge injuries even before the season. So it makes you wonder how the rest of the season, if the rest of the NFL season goes anything like the rest of humanity has gone for the rest of the season, every quarterback in the NFL is going to get hurt because we lost another great Gene Wilder this week. So just a real big shout out to Gene Wilder. Big fan of Richard Pryor. So you guys, any roster cuts made so far this year on your teams that really surprise you?
Not necessarily with the Jets. I mean, the big question is, do they carry 4 quarterbacks? Someone has to go on IR. This is ridiculous. 4 quarterbacks, and they're like, this is a joke.
Well, the Seahawks could take a backup.
The Dolphins are going to carry 19 running backs, so I feel your pain. Man. They may get a season out of that combination. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was talking about. I had no idea the Jets had. No, I know they had Fitzpatrick, but I had no idea they had 4 quarterbacks, and I had no idea the Dolphins. I knew they were lacking. Like Arian Foster, from what I understand, he's looked okay in the preseason. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be, but I didn't know they had so many running backs. It's really interesting how the. Like I said, it was just we all go to our different kind of camps, and it's like, oh, this is what's happening on my team. There's, hey, how's your team? Well, Troy Maine Pope. We're really hoping this undrafted running back can be 5th. He's been great, in the preseason. And you're like, he would be, in the top 19 on our team. It's kind of interesting. It's like the Dolphins are just really that desperate to find a running back, even with Arian Foster. They're that desperate to find a running back.
Yeah, he hasn't shown a lot in the preseason. So
don't answer
but
that.
He's a slow starter.
Do something more importantly, Todd. Introduce our guest for the show.
I will be happy to bring on the savior of this train wreck that we call a show. Kwayu Graham, he's a coach at Oak Ridge High School. His son is a sophomore star, and I do mean star, at running back. And he also coaches, he's a position coach for the fabulous top 20 national talent and University of Clemson commit T. Higgins. Coach, thanks so much for being on with us.
Hey, thank you for having me again. Really enjoy your show.
It is, you may have a brain injury if you enjoy our show, but we're glad that you're back on here again. Team has started off great. I mean, you guys had a really tough and big win against Farragut last night. What's been the biggest positive from the season so far?
Just it's been a joy out of 16, 17 years of coaching. I've been a part of some real good teams and love them all. But it's been a joy to coach this team every day at practice. Practices it's not a coach's utopia, but you can see the improvement even for us, for the coaching staff, for us together and working together and just. It's easy. You come to practice, you don't even notice that the practice is over, and it just go through. You got a lot of kids that are hungry to learn and hungry to work, and we really, really, really pushed our kids this year. It's their togetherness and just their willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve has been a joy to be a part of and a joy to watch, and just watching their growth. Every day the team gets better. Every day in practice, they work on little things, and commend the coaches. Coach Gaddis he reminds me of Coach Gaddis in 1988. He's
Wow.
the expectation for coaches, the expectation for players. man, it's really been a joy this year.
And what's it like to be coaching the same team that your son's on? Of course, he's been really successful so far, and of course, he had that huge run last night. What are your hopes for his future in football?
My hopes. Well, I actually have two sons on the team. I have Sherrod. He's a rising. You're gonna hear about him, and maybe next year. It's a lot of receivers, but he's a talented kid, and Jordan. Just like any father, I want him to do the right things in life. I want him to be a man and take responsibility for all, both good and bad. I want him to really work hard academically, to give himself choices in life. And as far as football, I just want him to continue to love playing the game. Right now, Jordan, my kids only played 6 years of football. Basically, when we moved to North Carolina, that was their first year of football. So for him, he loves the game. He loves to jump up and try to bump chest. He's nowhere near T's chest when they jump, but he loves that. He loves when other guys score and get excited. He loves the big hits. And his biggest thing, and he loves to see Coach Gaddis athletes. But as far as my son's future in football, I don't know if he has a future in football. I just want him to have a positive future in life. And if he's able to play football in the future or even in high school, continue to do what he's been doing. He's been very blessed to have made some plays as a freshman and sophomore. But for him, it's the fun of the game right now. I don't think we have any agenda with him in football right now.
Before Lee jumps in, I just have to say that this is exactly why we love having you on, Coach. The comment that before you even talked about football, you're talking about academics for him. And football, it's all about the enjoyment of the game. I mean, man, like Lee said, what an awesome guy you are. I mean, seriously, it's just amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Well, and we don't want you to compare players because we know you've had several very good players, great players over the years. But, T. Higgins is nationally respected. So where does he need to improve as a football player?
I think the biggest thing with T is mentally. I think T is so humble that the things he does, honestly, are natural. Everything is natural. If you tell T to go out and run a 4.4, this is how you run a 4.4. This guy runs a 4.43. You got to beat him, and he'll beat the guy. The ball's up in the ceiling, and he'll come down with the ball. He's by far the best athlete I've seen, and he's not even at his potential. The things he has to grow on, it's more like I said, it's mental things. It's believing in himself enough, and you would think he doesn't believe in himself after all this coverage and all this, but he's so humble that and it's so natural for him that he doesn't see what everyone else sees. So he still has fears. He still questions some things about himself. T is faster than T thinks he is. I learned from a scout to see how fast a kid, coaches can give scouts and recruiters times and stuff, but when they turn on the tape, when you have a geometric form where you have certain numbers and things or you have a diameter of this and this is this long and that, you can time a person at any time because, in football you have field markings every 5 yards. So to see how fast a kid is, you see how many strides he takes and how many seconds it takes him to run three or four lines. And that's how you can tell a 4.4 kid from a 4.6 kid. The great recruiters and coaches are good at that. That's why Alabama is so good. You can tell them what you want, but when they turn on that film, they're great at knowing what you can do. A star doesn't mean anything until they see you on film. And with T, it's basically trusting himself. He's such a great athlete that from January to December the 31st, he's involved in something competitive, meaning there's no downtime or time for him to prepare himself and his body to be a better athlete if he can be a better athlete. I mean, weight room time he doesn't get. Training time he doesn't get because after one sport, he goes into basketball, which he's an elite basketball player. And there's a lot of expectations on him. After basketball season, which our basketball team very good. They play all the way to March every year. And so you're talking about March, and then you give him a couple weeks off to prepare his body and to just get himself over the rigor of basketball. And guess what? We're in spring practice. So we go to spring practice. Right after spring practice is over, he goes straight to AAU basketball circuit, and that goes all the way up to football starts. So there's no time for T to prepare his body. When he gets in college, he's already in high school a phenom, but he will be not just his acts of what he can do, but just physically presence. He will be a phenom. He has muscle tone that when he fills out, he will be Johnson-like, Calvin Johnson-like. And I'm telling you, when he get a chance to work out and eat properly and those things.
Yeah, and I made the joke to somebody yesterday, somebody who has a daughter who played very good high school basketball, actually still plays, but that it seems like there's always two people on T wherever he goes, and I'm wondering if maybe the Oak Ridge staff just allows those two players to kind of follow him to the sideline at this point because they're always going to be on him. But how much presence does him being on the field influence the offense? For instance, Jordan's had a lot of success. The offense has a lot of success. If T's not there next year, do you still see the same kind of success for the offense?
Yes, because we have a system. You notice how many catches the first couple games. First game doesn't count because I think T and Jordan may have played a quarter and a half. But the second two games were pretty good teams. No disrespect to Clinton. Clinton has some potential, but they're not. Right now they're struggling. But the second two teams defensively were very good. And what we can do with our system is open up some things for other people. We have a kid, Trey Jackson, who will come on the scene eventually. He's a sophomore, but he has some wow in him also. We have some receivers that'll be back the next couple of years. Last night, Caleb Martin had touchdown and several big grabs. A kid named Tyrese Pendergrass is going to be special. Jeremy Mitchell, special. These are sophomores that I'm naming. We have a freshman, Isaiah Johnson, special. The quarterback with the freshman team, I can't say his last name, Jack. I ain't going to try to say his last name, but as a defensive back, he can be special. We have a lot of skilled guys, but at the end of the day, it's our system. We have a system in place for teams that don't have skilled guys to be successful. Offensively, we do. So with or without T, yes, T brings a lot. You can't stop, in which we haven't even really unveiled our triple option game this year, but you cannot stop a triple option attack without secondary support. I guess Jordan and T has made it to where, hey, let's hold it off till we need it, because in one play, Jordan can go 70 yards. T's going to take 2 to 3. Farragut put 3 people on T last night. And as Coach Gaddis say, it doesn't matter. We'll still give him the ball. But to your question, because we're in a system and we have a scheme that's conducive for everyone to touch the ball, and we have guys that if you give them a step to see you at all those positions, will it hurt with T being gone? I think it'll hurt us more mentally than schematically. But let's enjoy him while he's here now. We still have 12 more games, so let's keep him around while we can.
Ted?
Coach Graham, how you doing? This is Ted Hicks. Want to just ask you a couple of questions. I live in New York, and I don't have the privilege of watching Oak Ridge play, but I want to, for someone from the outside, tell us what's going to be the difference between this year's team versus last year's team.
Togetherness. Togetherness. This team is together. Okay. And they believe in each other. We had a player his freshman year who would have been a top recruit, no doubt. He's a freshman, a 6'5" kid, a basketball player. He would have been a top recruit as an offensive lineman. I don't know if he would have gotten to T stature, but he would have been a Division I-A recruit. As a freshman, he had to go against Darrell Middleton, and we had another defensive end. I can't think of his name. He's at Tennessee Tech now. He has to go against those guys as a freshman, and he held his own. Basketball player, and that winter, he worked his butt off. I mean, he got bigger going into his sophomore year. We had a lot of anticipation for him, and we he lost his life, and that his spirit is going to always be around this program and these seniors. These kids were all together. They were seniors with him. Don Colquitt was able to talk him out to come out in football. He was a soccer player, a soccer goalie, so he had great feet, played basketball. And he grew from about 6'1", a goofy 6'1", to 6'4", 6'5", in a year's time, and continued. Didn't really know much about football. He came out and played receiver with me the first couple of weeks in the summer his freshman year, and then he moved. I told him, I said, Joey, I said, I like you. Maybe we could play you at tight end. That's my way to move him to tackle. My nice way to say you're going to play tackle, because that year we didn't really use the tight end. We were a spread offense. And he said, sure, coach. And he went down and with the offensive lineman, and he came and told me one day, he said, Coach, they do a lot of hitting over there. I said, yeah, they do. And I thought he was going to try to come back and play receiver for me, but asked to play receiver, and he turned and looked at me, and he had a. If you ask anybody in Oak Ridge that knew Joey, it was always, they're going to say he had a peculiar smile. It was like, it was a sarcastic looking smile or grin. He never really got real big with it, but he just look at you, give it to you, and you always, that's what everyone remembers the most about him. He kind of turned and looked, and he said, I like that part of it. And I was like, wow. And he learned the game. He basically learned the game within a year. And going into his sophomore year, we had great anticipation. I remember Big Darrell was saying that when he had passed away, he said, Coach, that kid was going to be special. And he said, I just don't understand, And that kid there his spirit is around this team and that senior class, and they're a great group of kids. T. Higgins is in that senior class, but as a class, they're just good football players. Not a bunch of great athletes, just good football players that love playing football. If you look outside, you'll see about 10, 15 of them out there throwing the ball or playing touch football, and Coach Caddis had to walk out there and tell them, guys, come on, we need anyone hurt. But they're just good football players. But the difference between this year and the other years is togetherness. These kids are together. They believe in each other. They believe in what we're telling them. As I said earlier, this has been the easiest and so far the most gratifying year that I've coached. It's days that we don't have great days at practice. It's mistakes we make every day, doing every game that we've made that we have to correct. But when you issue a challenge to this group of kids, they don't fold. And you wouldn't think of them as a tough group, but they're mentally tough. And if that's the biggest difference between this year, and I guess I could say togetherness and mental toughness.
And Coach Graham, a follow-up question would be, what does Oak Ridge need to do to win the state championship this year?
Stay healthy, continue to improve every week offensively. Defensively, we know our defense coordinator does a great job of preparation. He does a great job of teaching. Our defense has been so good since I've been the 4 years I've been here that there is an expectation for them to be great. Consistency defensively, fundamentally sound offensively, defensively, and special teams. We have to, of course, to win the state championship, you have to have breaks. You have to have things to go your way. And just continue to improve, and the emergence of other players to beat teams, because what we've done, offense coordinator Brian Wyatt and Coach Gaddis have done a great job of basically theming games to where this is our theme and this is what we're going to do. Last night we did a great job of trying to do a great job with 3 people following but getting T involved, and we were patient as coaches. We got T involved. We opened up some things. Caleb Martin, the receiver backside, made some big plays. Caleb Jackson made some plays. Kimbrough was able to run and on the counter plays that we have, and eventually Trey Jackson was able to pop some up the middle. The quarterback made some good throws. Eventually, little Jordan was able to pop one, caught the ball deep. And so what we're doing each game, Coach Gaddis has put a theme of what we're going to do offensively, and we've been able to keep with the theme and be patient with the theme. And what it's doing is opening up other things, because teams watch film. With that huddle that they have now, trust me, every team is going to know everything that you do. And with us, I feel sorry for having to prepare for us offensively. Every team knows that our defense is going to be good. They're going to be sound. But offensively, what do you do? Do you take 3 people and understand we hadn't really not put in, but unveiled our triple option game, and we're a triple option team. We haven't really had to do that yet. And what do? Do you take 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs and just put them over there with T? Well, if you do that, then Jordan Graham, Trey Jackson, Kimbrough, Caleb Martin, Johnny Stewart will kill you. You know, do you what teams are doing now? Do you put your better defenders on the opposite side because we are a double wing team or a flex bone team of Jordan Graham to prevent him from going to the edge? We're going to make you try to stop him from going to the edge, but eventually he's going to come inside the edge. The B-back, Jackson, Trey Jackson, is going to come inside. The quarterback going to fake the toss to him and throw deep. So what do you do? You know, so the biggest thing, the thing that can get us to win the games we need to win and get to the state championship is to continue. It's not about anybody else right now. It's about us continue to become efficient with what we're doing, and you can call it the perfection of execution. If we strive for perfection in execution, we will win the state championship.
I love hearing coaches talk about their players. It's like kids with the best toys in the sandbox. I mean, that's great. Like, what are they going to do? That's fantastic. We're gonna move off football for a bit, though. What's the biggest difference that you've seen growing up in the city of Oak Ridge and what you see now, Coach?
Oh, wow. I tell you what, it's a lot different. The biggest difference I've seen is that we lost the community identity. It's when I grew up here, it was a big enough city to where we had things, but the people here were small enough community to where we knew each other. We respected each other. Not that there's not any respect or disrespect now. It's just no one interacts anymore. You know, I tell my son and Jordan, my youngest, he's more into it than anybody. Jordan fell in love with Oak Ridge. I think Jordan, when he's a young boy, was with Coach Gaddis in North Carolina and Lexington, and he wanted to be. He always wanted to play for Coach Gaddis. But Jordan really, he listens to these things, and I tell him all the time about. I know you guys are from here, some of you, and going to downtown on Saturday mornings and staying all the way to the afternoons, just walking around in a circle downtown and seeing all your friends, seeing the guys from the west end of town, because I grew up in Woodland, or the far east end of town, and just being able to laugh and joke and cut up and get chased around by the security guys, judge you not to be running in the stores, and they knew your parents, so they'll tell you and say, I'm going to tell your parents, and it was just Officer Munger seeing you and talking to you about the Little League football game. And can you beat Linden, or is Linden going to beat you? Will y'all tackle Darryl Miller? You know, it was just a community. We were a community. We were Oak Ridge. There was a lot of pride in Oak Ridge. You grew up here. Every Friday night, everything. I remember my teachers in elementary school would say on Fridays at school, it was kind of like a short day. We started off the day doing our lessons or whatever. Then we would go out recess, and I remember Miss Hamrick, whose son was a great player here, would say, y'all not tackling right. Now, she knew we wasn't supposed to tackle at elementary school. Your head's not up when you're tackling. You're supposed to play touch. But at Woodland School in the 5th grade, shoot, we tackled. And then they would kind of end the day and talk about who's going to the game. And I remember one class, it was 1 year. We would have to know what color the other team was to get 5 points. I never would forget that when you came to school that day, at the end of the day, before you left, down in teaching, they called that exit tickets, you know, to show that you know the lesson that went over the day. Well, our lesson on Fridays when I was growing up, I think it was 4th grade, Miss Dyer, and her son played at Oak Ridge, and I think her husband played and won the championship teams, but she would ask, she said, okay, it's Friday. Oak Ridge is playing Dobbins-Bennett. Tell me about Dobbins-Bennett. And you get a little extra point. Well, Oak Ridge colors came from Dobbins-Bennett. Well, what are Dobbins-Bennett colors? And you had to tell them. Or what is Farragut colors? You had to tell them. What is unique about Farragut? They had to start like the Dallas Cowboys. So it was always things like that. But overall, the community, you have so many transients here to where people are in for a little bit and then they're gone, that the city lost this. The city lost its pride. It's an aging city to where most of the people that's here now, because of the housing, we're losing so many young families to move in here because of the housing situation and the age of the houses that we do have, that you either have transients that's in or the people that moved in from outside the area, or the older population. So that's probably the biggest difference that I see. But I can't tell you this. I told Coach Gaddis this before the game. Coach Gaddis has a lot of pride in Oak Ridge. You might as well say he's an adopted son because he loves this place. He tells us this every day. Every kid that's played for him since he's been back to tell you, he loves this place. He tells us that every day. And I was telling this the other day. I went to Grove Market. You guys will know where that's at, right up above the school. And I went to get much sleep because I went to the Tennessee game the night before. And my wife wanted to stay because the game was so close. We were going to leave at halftime. And I went to get, I shouldn't have got it, but I got one of those 5-hour energy drinks because I was so tired. So I go in there, and the lady she had bought a lottery ticket, and she asked me, I had on my coaching, it wasn't a coaching shirt, and she asked, am I going to the game? And I said, yes, ma'am, I'm a coach. So you coach Oak Ridge? I said, yeah. She said, well, y'all better beat them Bluebells. And I looked at her. She said, well, and then another lady was in there. She said, that's right. That I can't wait. I can't wait to Friday again. It's been years since it's been that way. I can't wait to go Friday. And the lady who was a Indian woman behind the counter, she said, oh, and my son is dressing up in a toga. She didn't know what it was called, and we all said a toga. Yeah, he's so excited about it. Y'all better beat them. Y'all beat them old faggot. I don't like them. And I looked, and I was telling Coach Gaddis this, and that's the way it was when I grew up here. When you look at the stands against Dobbins-Bennett, and you look at the stands against Farragut, and we had more people at the Clinton game than Clinton. It's coming back. The excitement is coming back. When I walk in the neighborhood that I'm from, not from, I grew up in Woodland, but when I walk in Scarborough and I hear them arguing about the game on Friday night, on Saturday morning, it's getting back. You know, and that's the excitement that's going on right now, and hopefully we can keep that going.
That's definitely what you want to hear is people talking about the game the next day when you're out and about. So what are your hopes for the future? Of course, you got kids in the Oak Ridge school system, but you've been a really successful head coach elsewhere. What makes you happier, being a successful head football coach or having your family be in the best place for them?
What makes me happy is seeing my wife happy, seeing my kids happy, and having an opportunity to grow as people. For me, success is so funny. It's a funny word because success and failure. Because the one thing we can't control is time. The one thing we don't know with time is what's going to happen the next as it proceeds. So for me, it's learning to live in the now. Right now, I'm assistant coach for my favorite coach, Coach Gaddis. I want so bad for him to submit his legacy and have an opportunity to do that. I want to be a part of that. Right now, that's what my plan is the now and to appreciate what God has given me. I can tell you this, whatever happens to me, my son is not going anywhere for 3 years. So he already told me when opportunities come, when we talk as a family about other opportunities, he'll say, "Can I stay with Nana?" So I know my youngest son, he's not going anywhere. The middle one, Sherrod, I don't think he's going anywhere either. But right now it's just living in the moment, really, 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 honestly, just enjoying this season. Like I say, every week, look forward to preparing for the next week. And as far as my future, I don't know. God has a plan for me, and no matter what, I got to walk on his plan. I got to walk toward him and wherever he leads me. I don't know what tomorrow brings, and right now I'm learning to tell myself not to even worry about it. When it's time, it's time. If time is now and time is where I'm at, then that's where I'm going to be. Do I miss being a head coach? Not. I mean, it's a job. After certain years, once you're a head coach and you got the title, you see it as a job. I want all the responsibilities of it? No. What type of place will I go to? How and will you go to a place that's been winning and you got to keep that up? You go to a place that's building and you got to build and do I have the energy to build and to be patient, to wait out the process, So those are a lot of things you have to consider. But I tell you this, I would not go sideways for nothing, money, anything. I would not stay as an assistant coach. If I'm going to be a consistent coach, I'm going to be an assistant coach at Oak Ridge High School.
Well, that's a great answer. And Kwayu, I've known you for several years, and you're a really good person, a very good person, and that's one reason we really like to have you on the show. Beyond football, you're just such a good person. And I have to say this because you'll understand this. I was most proud of Ted when he said Oak Ridge like an Oak Ridger would. He didn't say Oak Ridge. He said Oak Ridge. And I was like, oh, Ted did a good job of saying Oak Ridge. So,
I had to grow with it.
But, yeah, that's right. So, Kwayu, thank you again for being on. What's the next game for Oak Ridge? I know you guys end with a bunch of games on the road. Is that right?
Yeah, the ending is going to be tough. The beginning was tough. We play Anderson County, another great program. Besides Oak Ridge, they're probably, and Austin East is dear to my heart, but in Tennessee, Anderson County and their coaching staff, Gillum David Gillum is probably one of my favorite coaches. He does a great job. At Austin East played against him. He was a young coach, so he would always reach out and ask Coach Graham this. He went to East Tennessee State, where I went to school, and I think his family knew of me when I played ball. I think he had an uncle that played against me or something like that. But he reached out to me, and even then, as a young coach, you knew he was going to be a great coach. He was at Scott County then, and we ended up moving to Anderson County the my last. I was already gone. My last year or two, he became the head coach when Larry Perry retired. But we play them next week, and one thing we know about them, they're going to be well coached. They're going to have a trick. They're going to have a play. They're going to find a way to stay in the game. Defensively, they will do some things to create advantages. We're never going to outflank them. They're going to be in position. So that's going to be a tough game. After that, I don't even know who we play because I'm honestly focusing on Anderson County. That's another tough game. They're not in our district anymore. They call it region now. They're not in our region anymore, but that's going to be a tough game. That they bring a great crowd. They have great support, and they know our kids. The youth league that our kids play in, they play against them also. The last of the schedule, we play some good teams. We play well. Private school team that has a lot of talent, picked up a lot of speed. They're fast. They're probably the fastest team we play this year. That's game 9, and then game 10 will be possibly for the region championship against Campbell County. Those kids, I coached against those kids at Campbell County. Well, they're not kids, they're grown men now. When they were at Anderson County, the Price twins, the Price brothers, they do a great job too. Great coaches. People are bought into their system. The kids are bought in. They're able to keep their kids in Campbell County and get a few kids from some other places too. But they're doing a great job with their program. So it's not, our road is not easy. Coach Gaddis put together a tough schedule, non-conference schedule, and our conference is always tough. So region rather. So that's what we have coming up. Is Anderson County is all I know, and really all I'm going to pay attention to right now. I think we have Sevier County to defend the state runner-up after them. So it doesn't get any easier. We just got to, go to work and keep bring our lunch pails and keep preparing and playing.
Kwayu, it's great having you on. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend. Hope you get some family time in there.
No, we have meetings on. Got to work today. Meetings on Sunday, and then JV game on Monday. So I think my dad gonna put something on the grill, and my family eat, and I get leftovers.
Well, hopefully you enjoy the leftovers. But thanks again for being on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I just have to say, and I know you guys agree, but we always have great guests. But every time Kwayu Graham is on, it's like I feel much better about life in general. Seriously, I do. I mean, man, that guy's awesome. Jeez.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yes, sir.
I just want to throw in here that we didn't ask him, but Coach Graham is available on social media as Coach Graham 8. And you could also follow, Oak Ridge Sports on Twitter also. So,
right,
great guest.
Yeah, he's been with us, several times. In fact, he sat in with us once or twice when we were doing the show live from Gallo Loco.
Right.
Yep. And actually, I keep forgetting, but the photo of our Happy Hour network on Blog Talk is Kwayu. And talking to me and Todd, Tori, Tori, obviously. She said, "Why'd you cut Todd's head off?" Because Todd actually looks like he has become the face of Happy Hour Network with the little Nikki X figure. So I apologize. But
hey, Lee, a lot of people ask me, Ted, I didn't know you went down to Tennessee to take a picture with Lee and
Wow.
I've heard of. Are people thinking I've heard of black people? That must be the one. That must be. Come on. It's like come on. There's more than one African American. Jeez. So anyway, now that we spent the first hour and 8 minutes talking about football on this show. I'm not sure how we got there. So we should. We should mention U.S. Open really fast. Novak Djokovic has gotten a free pass all the way to the finals, as we talked about pre-pro, because of everybody falling out injured. That's not the case, but he has basically had walked through the first two matches. Not his fault. It's just the other players got injured, whatever. So, and I want to say this real fast. I think we'll leave politics out because what's happened in the last week is the same stuff that always happens, whatever. We're kind of in that boring part before the election.
Emails and a lunatic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I met with the president of Mexico, and he's going to build a wall. That's a lie. Donald Trump lied. That's not the case. But his lies don't seem to get as much publicity as what Hillary Clinton might have done or said. So that's kind of interesting. Did I interrupt you, Todd? Were you going to say something?
I was just going to say that Ted should break the news about the Vikings.
Oh yes,
man.
Yes. Yeah, we've already broken it live on the Twitter feed, which millions of people follow. But Ted, do you want to tell us? I'll say this: I was worried that the Vikings would be very good this year with Teddy Bridgewater, and when he got hurt, as a Seahawks fan, I thought, okay, that opens things up. Now with this trade, I'm for sure the Vikings will probably not even win 4 games. So, do you want to tell people who the quarterback now is for the Minnesota Vikings?
So let me lead up to it. There was a lot of talk on social media, and the Vikings, their front office was saying that the NFL GMs are crazy because they were asking for the sun, moon, and stars because of the situation that happened with Teddy Bridgewater. So it appears, as we broke it, well, we didn't break it. We're going to break it right now. The Eagles trade Sam Bradford to the Minnesota Vikings for a first-round pick, the 2017 first-round pick. So how about it?
Yeah, how about that? Wow. For what round pick?
First-round pick.
Yeah, first-round pick.
Bradford.
For Sam Bradford?
The guy with the bionic knees.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, trading almost anybody for a first-round pick nowadays is crazy. Unless for very few people.
They were nervous. There was such a sense of urgency. Adrian Peterson's not getting any younger. Desperation. I don't know. Lunacy. Sam Bradford?
Yeah, Sam Bradford.
What's that guy done?
Injury concerns aside, yeah, he's still Sam Bradford even when he's healthy, which is almost never. So, wow.
You might as well wait for the Broncos to release Mark Sanchez.
Yeah,
they would have been better off. They would have been better off doing that. Absolutely better off, because at least the guy probably will make it through the season.
Right.
And he's really not much worse of a screw up than Bradford is.
No, he's not.
I mean,
yeah.
Good Lord. Which tells you what other teams were asking. They must have been asking for first in 2017 and first in 2018.
Yeah.
And, throw in a couple third rounders because, holy cow.
Yeah, you said first round, and for some reason I heard it, but it didn't really, it didn't dawn on me that you actually, because I think my body was in such shock that it was first round, and I was, wait a minute, did he really just say first round? First round?
First round.
That's the Eagles, who probably aren't going to be that. That could be a high pick.
That's
right?
the Eagles
the Vikings
gave up.
Yeah, but the Vikings might still be a pretty decent pick. I mean, they have a good team, but with Sam Bradford, they won't be Sam Bradford because it'll be whoever backs him up, who will be the quarterback for most of the year. We all know that, but because he's going to get hurt, he's fragile. So we also did Todd and I, and I wasn't sure if Hofstra alum Ted would want to be a part of this, but so we're going to make really quick. Actually, where did you go to? You didn't go to Hofstra, right? Where did you go?
No, Queens.
Okay.
Queens College.
Columbia.
Queens College.
So so I went to Carson Newman. What am I saying? I was watching the Carson Newman game. Who Carson Newman in the '80s won several national championships, and they're always good. In fact, Ken Sparks has been their coach for 37 years. He's been there forever. And there's in his 37 years, do you know how many times Carson Newman has not been picked preseason, not been picked to win their conference?
No.
3. Not win their conference? I was just going to say a couple, 2 or 3 times.
3 times. So they're usually pretty good, and they make the playoffs. And I have to say, I stopped watching because I was thinking, it's 31-28. Okay. That was the first half. They give up too many points. But anyway, speaking of teams that probably won't give up that many points, college pick'em. We're going to use the ESPN, and we'll do this really quickly, not take a whole lot of time up on the show. So we'll run down this list. So, Todd, I don't know if you have a list brought up. I'll just say this out loud on the air.
I do.
First one, Oklahoma versus Houston today. All these games are today. This one's at 12 p.m. in just a little bit. I have Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
And Ted, do you have a pick? I know I'm putting Ted on the spot, but okay.
Oklahoma.
But
Ted
it's like college football. I live in New York. Is there such a thing as a non-professional team? Which totally makes
these aren't
sense,
professional teams. They're just college professional teams.
Well, just the SEC. So it's like when I lived in Cleveland or Seattle, it's really funny because there are other teams besides the professional teams, but you don't talk about it. It's not a way of culture of life. It's the Seahawks and the Mariners, and there's also UW, which is, you want them to win, but that's not really the prevalent conversation around the city. So, it's one of those things. But Missouri and West Virginia, led by Bobby Bowden. I believe he's back coaching. For those people who don't know who Bobby Bowden really is, he actually used to be the coach of Florida State, and now he used to actually coach West Virginia before that. So anyway, West Virginia and Missouri. Who do you have, Todd?
The Mountaineers.
Yeah, I have the Mountaineers. What do you think, Ted?
WV.
WV. For some reason I heard UV, and I was like, So Hawaii and Michigan today at 12 as well, and Todd's Michigan Wolverines. So I have Michigan.
Don't be foolish and ask me that question, okay? You know the answer to that one.
Todd has Hawaii. So Ted, who do you have?
UM.
Rutgers and Washington, and it's in Seattle, so I have Washington, which should be a good team. Of Rutgers is. Oh, sorry, Ted. I'm sorry. I think Rutgers probably is close to where you live. I'm assuming, actually, they're in New Jersey. Why is there no University of New Jersey, or is there? And we just never hear anything about it. Rutgers,
no, there is
University of New Jersey.
No. There's New Jersey Institute of Technology, and there's a lot of schools out in Jersey, but there's no University of New Jersey. But
Christie shut the bridge to it, so no one can go there, so they closed.
That's right.
I'm taking the Malamutes in this.
The Malamutes, okay. And Ted, do you have a pick?
Yeah, well, only because it's geographically close to me, I'm going for Washington.
Okay. So UCLA and Texas A&M, this actually should be a good game. I have Texas A&M winning this game because UCLA should be good, but I think Texas A&M is just it's at Texas A&M, I believe. So I'm going to go with the Aggies.
You are correct. It is at Texas A&M, but I am going with the Bruhans.
And Ted, do you have between the Bears and whatever an Aggie is, do you have a pick?
I am going with the Bears. I mean Bruins. Bruins. Sorry.
They're Bears. And then there's LSU at Wisconsin.
Yes.
I'm going to go with LSU. Todd?
Tigers.
Yeah. Tigers all day.
Tigers. And then Georgia at North Carolina. And if you guys choose the wrong team, the show is ending immediately. But I have North Carolina because I feel like Mitch Trubinsky is the quarterback there. He's taking the place of Marquise Williams, who was the quarterback last year. A lot of the same skill athletes. I feel like North Carolina is going to put up a lot of points, and I think they have just enough to beat. And this game is in Atlanta. It's closer to Georgia, but it's not a home game for Georgia specifically. But I'm going to go with Carolina. I think it's a bit of an upset, but Georgia's 18, Carolina's 22. So, Todd?
Yeah, actually, I'm going with the Tar Heels too. I mean, Georgia's got a new coach. That's a little bit different for them. So yeah, Tar Heels.
I'm going with North Carolina, even though they still haven't gotten the whole LGBT stuff right.
We have 3 more games left. We have USC against Alabama in Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which is interesting. USC's ranked number 20. They got a lot of skill athletes, and Alabama's ranked number 1, whatever. So I have Alabama. I mean, I don't know why anyone would ever choose to pick against Alabama, but Todd?
Yeah, you look at the picks, and you can see how many people, and it looks like maybe 8% have chosen the Trojans. I think it's actually going to be a close game, but yeah, it's Alabama.
Does Pete Carroll still coach for USC?
USC?
No,
that would be awesome, actually. If he wasn't a Seahawks coach and he was still coaching, could you imagine Pete Carroll against Nick Saban?
Woo, that would be great. Alabama all day.
And in a cat fight, Clemson plays Auburn, or whatever nickname Auburn is choosing to go by, either an eagle or a tiger. And this game is in Auburn, which it's kind of misleading. Clemson hasn't won there since, I think, 1952, but they don't play every year. They're actually not too far apart geographically, but Clemson clearly wins this. It may be an entertaining game. I mean, Clemson has a lot of pieces they have to try to substitute from last year on defense, and Auburn could, conceivably put up points, but Clemson probably scores 55 on this Auburn team. So I'm going to go with Clemson. Todd?
Oh, yeah, Clemson for sure.
Does Rex Ryan's son still play for Clemson?
I don't know. I know that T. Higgins, who we just talked about, is a Clemson commit.
Well, okay. We're going with Clemson.
And then finally, Arizona, led by Coach John McCain, against Coach Brigham Young team. He's so full of himself, as all the Mormons are. So I'm going to go with – that's a joke. Actually, Mormons seem pretty nice. So I'm going to go with Arizona because it's in Arizona. But I don't really know anything about either of these two teams other than Brigham Young used to have a whole bunch of good quarterbacks. Actually, they still have a good quarterback, come to think of it. So I'm still going to go with Arizona just because of the points they put up. Todd?
I will go with Arizona in a game I have absolutely zero interest in.
And that's racist.
I've been to Arizona once.
Me too, actually.
I went there once for a tech conference. But enough about me. It's about the game. We're going with Arizona.
And I've been to Utah once. I was in the airport in Salt Lake City, which actually looks beautiful. Never been there in the city. I've just been in the airport, but it really looks pretty. So yeah, that's our college pick'em. We'll do that hopefully every week. Actually, it'll be more fun because we'll do the NFL pick'em starting next week, and Dolphins Seahawks week 1. So that'll be cool. And then now we talk about the most important thing. Of course, we now have the most limited time to talk about Major League Baseball, and we'll start off with the standings. We're actually Baseball Beer and Barbecue, although you wouldn't know it from listening to the show today. So currently, do we even want to talk? I guess we have to talk about the things. But so the Blue Jays are a game up over the Red Sox, 3 over the Orioles, and the Yankees 5 games over 500, 6.5 back. And I'm not going to talk about last place teams because who cares? The Indians are 4.5 over the Tigers and 8.5 over the Royals. The Rangers are clearly going to win their division unless for some reason they just fall apart, and that's not going to happen. They're 9.5 games over the Astros. Same thing with really most of the National League. The Nationals lead their division by 11 games in the loss column over the Mets, and 10.5 in games behind. And then the Marlins are a game behind the Mets. The Cubs lead the Cardinals by 300 games, which is crazy. I didn't know that mathematically. But actually, it might as well be 16.5. It's ridiculous. So, and the Pirates are 2 games over 500, and they're 19 back. I don't know what that says. The Dodgers lead the Giants by 2 games in the West. Nobody seems to want to win the West. It's just the Dodgers are 5-5 in the last 10, and the Giants are 4-6 in their last 10. So, kind of strange stuff in the West. And then, as far as the wild card standings, I don't even know if I can get those pulled up, which is really weird. You'd think the wild card standings would be right in front of me, but they're not. So if anybody else has those pulled up, I'd be more than
I have the wild card standings. Currently, Cleveland and Texas are in the wild card. And that's all I really care about.
Cleveland and Texas, they lead their divisions.
No, I know they lead their divisions. Boston is up, and Baltimore and Detroit are currently tied for the second wild card spot.
Good for you.
Astros are
Tigers,
just 2 back. And yeah, amazingly. And if they were something better than 1-11 against Cleveland, they would be in much better shape. Astros are 2 back. Yankees, after getting rid of considerable dead weight, are only 3.5 out. So look at that.
Wow.
That's because they have Roy Hobbs.
They have like 3 Roy Hobbses now. Good Lord, that's just crazy, isn't it? National League, your lovely Giants are a game and a half up for the first wild card chase, and the Cardinals, of course, as we say every time, it is written into the National League charter. They do have a wild card spot currently. Ted's Mets are 2 out of that second spot. The Pirates, who gave up on the season long ago, they're only 2.5 out. And my Marlins, who are completely toast now because their outfield is now Christian Yelich and a 900-year-old excellent baseball player, but he is 900 years old and a bunch of scrubs. They're 3 back, but they're not going to make any noise. So that is your wild card race for now.
3's not too bad. I mean, they're falling back, but 3's not too bad.
Yeah, and Ozuna's out now too, so they're done.
And the stats, currently the American League batting average leader is Jose Altuve, 348. Dustin Pedroia having a really good season, 324. Escobar, 320. Mike Trout, 320. And Mookie Betts right there at 319. National League batting average, LeMahieu, 342. That's how you say his name. I'm not making that up. Daniel Murphy, 341. What's wrong with Daniel Murphy? Why is Daniel Murphy's 341 now? What is he having his worst season ever now? No.
Yeah, he is.
Martin Prado of the Marlins, 318. Charlie Blackmon, didn't he play for the Phillies in the 80s? How long has this guy been around? 317. Home runs, Trumbo, 41 for the Orioles. Edwin Encarnacion for 36 for the Blue Jays. Todd Frazier, 35. Todd Frazier's batting like, 210 or something like that? Anyway, in the National League, Nolan Arenado, 36, along with Chris Bryant. Chris Carter, former receiver for the Vikings, 30. And Adam Duvall, 29. And then runs batted in, Encarnacion, 107. David Ortiz, 105. Albert Pujols, 103. Mookie Betts, 98. And Arenado has 117 in the National League. He clearly is in front there. Daniel Murphy's second at 98. It's funny because if we can pull up the runs real fast, I mean, Chris Bryant has kind of the same kind of lead, I think, and as far as runs go in the National League, it's so far up there. I mean, is it a matter of, Chris Bryant going to be the National League MVP?
Yeah, he's the only player who's producing like that who's not playing at 6,000 miles above sea level. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, he should be.
Yeah.
And, we'll see how things play out in September because you never know, but he ought to be.
It's September now.
By the end of September. Jerkwad. Yeah, Murphy's pretty close on his heels, though, amazingly, still, in OPS. 988 for Bryant, 993 for Murphy, and there's so many plate pieces that are making it happen for the Cubs. It's certainly not just Bryant, but and they have such a huge lead. Even if they've lost Bryant, you'd still think, well, they'd still be ahead. So it's hard to say that Murphy is not more valuable to the Nationals than Bryant is to the Cubs, but I think you just have to go with Bryant.
Are you trying to say that if you took Chris Bryant's WAR of 7.1 away from the team would still only be up by 9 games?
It's insane, isn't it? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Daniel Murphy's WAR is 4.0, which is good, but Chris Bryant is far and away the leader in the National League with his numbers. Corey Seager's actually third. So, Rookie of the Year, there you go. So anything that really stood out to you guys as far as the week that was in Major League Baseball?
Could I just have 2 minutes to talk about the Mets? And it's going to take less than 2 minutes. Because I'm just going to say Start the timer. 3, 2, 1. Wheeler, Matz, DeGrom now, Harvey. You have Syndergaard with bone spurs. Who is the last man standing? El Jefe, Bartolo Colon. He is the last man standing. I just want to say to all the fans who call up WFAN, stop blaming Terry Collins with this, okay? They went for it last year. They overachieved. Yes, you've got a bunch of arms that are dead. Yes, you've got Neeson, you got a few other players that have, their seasons are over. Neil Walker had a great year. Don't blame Terry Collins on it. Whoever the strength and conditioning coach is, blame him. Blame the organization. I mean, it's just maddening to listen to WFAN. Yes, I do. And just to hear the Mets fans bitch and moan about this stuff. Like, guys, this last year was the first winter we had in a while. Stop. And stop. Give the ownership. The ownership is crap, but give them a break. They sign, hopefully he doesn't opt out. And if he does opt out, give him a new deal. That's my take on the Mets. Thanks.
You sound so disappointed by that. So, Todd, do you have any take on the Mets? No, I'm disappointed for you, Ted, because I want the Mets to do well. I want your guys' teams to do well, and it's kind of the Mets this year like the Nationals last year. We expected the Mets to be great, and they haven't been. And maybe they'll bounce back next year. Maybe they'll be like the Nationals were this year. It gets confusing, but so that's basically our show. I do have. So my wife leaves for Italy in a week and a half or whatever.
Wow.
And so she's already, just for fun. And so she's already mentioned, she's going with some guy. I don't know. So, but she mentioned, last name is Hicks. I really don't know what. So,
hey. Allegedly.
You just called him Homer. That's all I know. But she's already mentioned that, next year, you and Fiona, my 8-year-old, should go somewhere. So, we've looked into it, like, early in the year, just as far as if we actually went somewhere. Like, we seriously looked at it, and it wasn't that Fiona's a very smart 8-year-old. She's more like a 13-year-old. And so, she had she has her opinions. She mostly wants to go to communist countries, which it's weird, but no, I'm fine with. So, that's a joke. But she does like Cambodia for some reason, and she just sings Khmer Rouge songs all the time, which kind of scares me a little bit. So, but that's it. We have looked into which countries. Of course, I want to go to Ireland. I said we could just go knock on some doors in County Mayo and County Clare and say, "Oh, Hickey," and they would, "Oh, yeah, so you can stay with us," that kind of thing. So, but we have talked about, besides Ireland, 2 countries, and we think we have decided that if we actually make this trip, and we actually could make this trip, which country do you think Fiona has at the top of her list? And after looking at it and looking into it, I would be totally okay with going to this country. It's a European country, so which country do you guys think this would be? And don't give me any of those fucking Mediterranean countries, because everybody wants to go there, and they're just sellout countries that haven't been relevant in a long time. So that said, which country do you think we have decided on, or maybe have decided on?
I was going to guess Liechtenstein or Stein.
That would be
or
an
Stone.
excellent one.
Liechtenstein or Switzerland.
Switzerland is beautiful.
The chocolate's good, man. Chocolate's good.
Man,
it's true.
Totally. If I know Fiona, and I just met her through video chat, just as you've met my son.
Actually, you did meet Fiona VM.
Yeah.
Come to think.
Yeah. So for all those weirdos out there that were thinking, Ted's hitting below the belt. No. Knock it off. I'm thinking Fiona is thinking about Baseball Beer and Barbecue, and she says XRP Radio in the UK play us a couple of times a week. She's going to want to go to the United Kingdom, hopefully around the time there's going to be an NFL football game there. If I know Fiona, that's what she's thinking about.
Nice. You had me until the end. We don't care about that NFL, really, unless it's the Seahawks. No, actually, this place is according to a couple of studies that I've looked at, reputable studies, it's the happiest place on earth. And so we're seriously thinking about going to the country of Denmark. Next spring. So
well, as soon as you said happiest place on earth, it's because of all the drugs. So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
No, that's the Netherlands. But I'll say this about Denmark: they have free child care, they have free college. The minimum wage is $20 an hour. Free
those things
health
don't
care.
work.
Did I say that?
That's false.
Obviously not. No, they've only been in existence for centuries. But yeah, Denmark is pretty. So we'll be running ads for the Denmark tourist business soon. So anybody have any final words?
I think that's a great location, Denmark. Final words. Want to just let everyone know. This week, LMP is on starting tomorrow night, 7 p.m. on Sundays weekly. I will hopefully have my brethren that I'm on the phone with now currently and constantly on there. And this Wednesday, I am talking with my good friend Bucko Bruce. We're going to talk. He's going to be the only guest on Happy Hour Network. And we're going to talk about the upcoming NFL season in our recurring series, Bucko Bruce Knows Football, Part 2.
Todd, any final word?
I'm just figuring that, let's see, it'd probably be 4 o'clock your time from Denmark for your live show, so which would give us our 10 o'clock start. That'd be awesome.
I can do it via Skype. Skype is international. I probably could do it.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Actually, we should have Fiona do the show. She'd be much more interesting.
I interviewed someone from Denmark once last year. The author of One Woman, Three Men. That was a very interesting conversation. Yeah,
I remember you talking about that.
She lives in Denmark. She called me from Denmark. So.
Huh. That's awesome. I was a little bit worried about the subject matter because I don't know how I feel about that because we're not going to talk about it now. But yeah, I mean, it's just philosophically. So anyway, that's our show. Going again. Thanks to Kwayu Graham, coach at Oak Ridge High School, for being on, and we'll see you on. Actually, I should say this: Friday, on the 9th of September. We're actually going to have a special Friday night show because I have to work on Saturday at my day job. And we're going to have Russell Baxter on at least to help preview the NFL season, which starts on the 11th. So we'll talk about that. So we're looking forward to Friday night's show. But in honor of that, here's our outro.
3rd down and 4 from the 9. Seattle leading 13-10. Wilson out of the shotgun, Prosite. Curse is slotted on the left side. Lockett wide to the near side. Russell looking. Russell scrambling. Pump faking. Still looking. Now he spins out. He's coming to the right. Still looking for somebody to open up. Pump fake. He throws to the end zone. It's a touchdown. Touchdown Seahawks to Tyler Lockett, who just kept moving around. Ryan Russell was chasing Russell Wilson all over the backfield. A 9-yard touchdown pass. The Seahawks finally pay it off.
Record better audio anywhere with Motive digital microphones from Shure. Easy-to-use options like the MV88 plug directly into your phone or computer and include a free app. Create studio-quality sound for podcasts, music, and videos. Visit Shure.com to learn more.
Every day, there are so many missed business opportunities.
Sorry, left that file on my work computer.
So many barriers to working together.
Sorry, can't access that file on my phone.
But today, Microsoft Office 365 offers lots of new features to help you be productive anywhere. Like editing office files on phones and tablets, easy one-click video conferencing, a free terabyte of secured cloud storage.
Sorry, wait, I mean, really? Wow, that's awesome.
Go to tryofficenow.com to start your free 30-day business trial of Office 365. That's tryofficenow.com.